Hey, everybody out there in Cryptid Land. Me and my buddy Dirty have a very special guest on the show tonight. Her name is Kay Golden, and she is an alien abductee. And I'm telling you, her encounter will make the skin on your arms crawl. It's a scary, scary encounter, and I believe her 1000%. And I'm telling you, you guys are going to dig it. So stick around and join us tonight on the Cryptid Quest Podcast. Hey, everybody out there in Cryptid Land, we've got Kay Golden with us tonight. And she's going to be talking. We're going to be hashing it up about some aliens. That's the topic of the night. So let me introduce Kay, and I'll let her take it over. How you doing, Kay? Welcome.
I'm good. Thanks for having me on, Patrick. I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. I've been hear your encounters and everything that happened to you since I've read your email. So I'll let you take it from wherever you want to start with it. So
okay. Well, as these things usually seem to happen to people, I found myself in a very bizarre position in September 2017. We were living in Southern California in Diamond Bar. And I think we'd only been there. We just moved in maybe 2 weeks prior. And my husband had to start his new job with one of the big government contracting companies down there. So it was that night or the morning before when I probably went to bed about 11:30. Checked everything downstairs before I came up and went to bed. And I remember thinking that I was going to go sleep in the guest bedroom because my husband had to get up early and I didn't want to disturb him. And then something made me just plop down in the bed. So I had a strange dream that I was in this fog or mist, and there were these hooded beings with a black pot, cooking something over this fire. I mean, it looked like it was out in the woods or something. And they turned, and I couldn't see any faces. They were just dark hooded beings, and they were reaching for me. And of course I'm going, oh my God, no, because they probably wanted to put me in the pot. And then that was freaky enough. And then I think I woke up and I moved a little bit, and husband was asleep. I was like, okay. And, I go back to sleep. And then I'm woken by vibration through my body, starting kind of in the head and kind of progressing down. But the really bizarre part was this blue light in the room. So it was like great big light in the room, enveloping the whole room. And after a little bit, it condensed down. But I was kind of flipping out because I was sitting there on an elbow looking and going, my left elbow, oh my God, it's an emergency. There's an earthquake, and that's why I'm vibrating. That's what I thought. And I thought, okay, then these are cop lights. These are fire truck lights and all of that. And then I thought, well, wait a minute. We're on the second floor. We have our blinds closed, our curtains closed. The windows are locked. I mean, there was no light coming from the street at all. There was nothing. And I looked across. We had a bathroom down there that had no doors on it. So you could look across and see the Hollywood lights around the mirror if they were on, but they weren't on. So that wasn't the source of the light. I turned to the right a little bit, looked through the doorway, and no lights on out there in the hallway. And so I was very puzzled, and I was getting a little alarmed because of the vibration that was going through me. It was like a shaking or a quaking, if you would. And it just kind of started in the head and progressed down. And this was happening. And then that light was starting to shrink down. And we had a big ceiling fan up there above the bed. And I remember looking, we had 4-post bed, we had the big ceiling fan. And I remember looking at that and going, that should be casting shadows. And there were no shadows in this light whatsoever. So that was completely wrong, bizarre, unreal, uncanny. And I'm on my left elbow. And then this light is starting to come down just so it's on the bed. it kind of shrinks down, and then it's shrinking down more, and then it's on me. And we had this white comforter with some flowers, like every couple of rows there were some yellow, blue, purple flowers. And I'm looking at the comforter, and it's lighting up like as if it would in a black light. So it had that really bright, intense, glowy colors to it. And so I'm sitting there on my left elbow, and I'm looking down towards my feet, and this light is getting smaller and smaller and smaller till it's just on me. It's not on the whole bed, it's just on me. And it's making
Okay.
this
So is
concentric
it
circle.
is it like an orb or just
No,
a light? Just
this
a
was a
light.
light that was in the room that had just taken, it was the whole room, and then it shrunk and it shrunk and it shrunk down
Okay.
until it was just on me.
Okay.
And then so it got to that point, and I felt something touch my foot down at the end of the bed, and I wanted to jump out of the bed and scream. I could not jump out of the bed and scream. So I'm on my elbow, and I'm looking down there trying to peer through this blue light that's right there, and I see a large creature, a head, not a large creature, but a head of something, because our bed was up pretty high because of my legs, and having to be able to get out of a higher bed was better for me. So it probably wasn't, that top of that head was probably not more than 3.5 feet on from the floor level, because our bed was up there high. And we didn't have much of a footboard. So, I mean, I could see it, but something grabbed my foot under the sheet. And that was very alarming. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God, oh my God. And the blue light is starting to come down a little bit more, shrink down. And I'm looking kind of past it, and I see that shape. It's a light bulb like shape, but just the top of it. So maybe like the top 3 inches of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm freaking out because there shouldn't be anything down there in the middle of the night by my foot in the room, in the house, period. And so I'm freaking out. I'm still vibrating, and I'm getting to the point where I can't breathe, and I can't move. So I can't kick. I can't shout. Nothing was coming out of my mouth. I mean, I'm sitting there on my left elbow looking at this, and I can see my husband. He's stone cold asleep. Nothing. I mean, nothing was waking him up. He didn't see that blue light. Nothing. And I'm freaking out. And so that thing's down there, whatever that was. And I didn't know at the time what it was. I think in my book, I called it a thing when I first saw it. I mean, what else can you call something like that? Because you don't know what it is. It took many, many more experiences to figure out what they are. But I, out of my peripheral vision on my right eye, I saw another thing right here next to me by my pillow. And it had 4 fingers, little claws on the end, a big head, black eyes, the big like cat shape or almond shaped eyes that are really black and creepy. And I mean, it's dark in the room, but that blue light made it that much more terrifying. And so I've got this thing down by my foot and this other one right here. And my heart's jumping out of my chest, and I can't move, and I'm feeling like I can't breathe, and I'm going to pass out. And that one down at the foot yanked the covers off. And so I'm sitting here going, oh my God, what is this? What is this? What is this? And because you don't know what to think. I mean, if maybe you heard stories as a kid, or you had a friend told you something, or, ghost stories or things like that. I think I remember reading when I was young about the Betty and Barney Hill abduction.
Oh, yeah.
Out there. I was like 1966, 63, something like that. And I remember getting the book as a reward for doing well reading in class. It was like 4th grade in Wisconsin. And I never read the whole thing. I only read a little bit of it. I thought, toss it away. I was into, Barbies and horses and stuff like that. So, but I mean, you do hear things from time to time. And I heard about the Travis Walton. I actually read about that in the paper once.
Yeah.
I think we were living in California, and my dad passed me the Sunday paper, and I looked and went, whoa, that's interesting. But other than that, I didn't have a whole lot of exposure to this stuff. So again, thing one and thing two. And the covers are off. And I'm sitting here going, oh, what is going to happen next? And my heart is just beating, 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 beating so fast. And I'm screaming. I'm trying to scream out for him. Wake up, wake up, wake up, help. Nothing was coming out of my mouth. It was like my lips were sewn shut. So I couldn't scream. And you can't move. Somehow, and I put in my book, basically that blue light, I think it possibly knocks your partner out, sanitizes you so that they can get you and take you. And it must do other things. It must make you immobile, because I don't remember them zapping me with anything. And I've heard later on in life, of course, and after more experiences, people saying that there's something that they bring that zaps them, and that's what makes them paralyzed. And that's not the case. But so I was already paralyzed or not able to move, not able to scream vocally, and freaking out that there's thing one and thing two over here. And you can't describe it. I mean, you can't wrap your head around it when it's happening. It's so surreal and so terrifying.
I can hear the fear in your voice right now.
I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I mean, I thought, oh my God, this is it. God, take me, because this is not happening. This is nuts. What is this? And these weren't like robbers coming into the house. These were small beings, dark, and those big almond-shaped eyes, and they kind of glisten in that blue light. So behind it, I could see the black, liquidy-looking black eyes, and they kind of glisten. No pupils in these eyes. No eyelashes, no eyebrows.
So
two small little holes for a nose.
So at this point, do you, in your mind, you know these are aliens?
Well, I didn't know what else to think.
Yeah.
I mean, because like I said, you hear stories, and you never think something like this could ever happen to you.
Yeah. No.
Man, I've had the wind knocked out of me in life, falling off a swing set and falling off a horse, and that is nothing compared to what this was doing to me physically. So I couldn't breathe well. I was shaking and freaking out, and then I'm being lifted up. But before that, the little guy, the Zeta Grey, and these are like the ones that come take you are the ones that are like half robot or half biological. Some people will explain it that way. So they're doing a job. So their job is to come get you and bring you to the ship. That's what I've figured out so far. It's where the real beings are. So this one over here was bringing something towards my right eye. And I don't know what that was. It could have been a device, as other people have said, a little, pen-like thing. And, you just don't know. And I'm basically frozen. So he does that. And those fingers are creepy. I mean, it's like watching a big spider with their hand kind of crawl towards you. Those 4 fingers, and they're long and they're creepy. Now, these beings themselves, they have a big head. They have a really slender body, thin. It doesn't look like they're put together right at all. That's how surreal this is. They've got short legs. So you got this big head, thin body, short legs. I didn't see any feet. I mean, I'm sure they had feet, but I didn't see if they wore boots or anything like that. Everything was dark, so they were probably wearing some dark skin suit, tight-fitting whatever, pajamas. I don't know what they were. Kind of metallic. It shimmered a little bit in that blue light. And no helmets. And I have heard other people say, oh, they wear helmets. I'm like, oh, there were no helmets on these. But you got the 2 little holes in the face for the nose, no ears, no eyebrows, no eyelashes, no hair. I didn't see one wrinkle on these things. And when they touch you to take you, and they take you in my case, they took me in an actual beam of light, believe it or not. And one was at my elbow. In a beam of light.
Oh, okay.
So wow. I'll get to that. So, but anyway, the touch is cold and a little repulsive. But so sheets are off, the comforter's off, they've got me, and I'm being floated up. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, okay, I'm being floated up. Maybe this is an out of body experience. But there were a couple of things that in my head said, well, wait a minute. If you're having an out of a body experience, why do you have these two things with you? One here and one down by your feet. Why is there blue light? Because that doesn't make any sense to me. So anyway, I'm being floated up and I see the ceiling fan and I'm trying to speak to them, which I can't. You're going to kill me. That's a ceiling fan and it's on high because it's hot in Southern California and I like to stay cool. So up and over, and I'm being moved over the bed. It's a big king size bed, 4-post, and I go right over my husband, and I'm looking and going, oh, my head's going to hit the post. So I'm trying to tell them, which I can't because my mouth won't move, my body won't move. Hey, you're going to kill me because that's a bedpost. You're going to knock my head right into it. And somehow I passed right through that bedpost over my husband, and I was able to go help, but without saying it. I'm just freaking out. And again, I'm at the point where I just like, God, just let me die. This is not what I want. And you think almost that it's some kind of weird death religious experience that you're going to have when something like this happens to you. That's the only way I can try to explain it. Obviously, that wasn't the case. But so we go over, and now we're heading towards the window. And it's not a huge window. It's 2 windows. And again, they're shuttered, closed, locked, and they have dark brown or dark blue drapes on them. And then there's a window seat there with some pillows on it. Anyway, we're heading straight towards that. And in my mind, I must have seen or heard, again, those stories that you hear, somebody passing through a solid object. Well, I just passed through our bedpost.
Yeah.
Now, I'm thinking, guys, you need to set me down so we can walk out of the house like normal. And that's what I wanted to say. If you're going to take me, because all of a sudden I'm thinking, I'm being taken. These are aliens. Oh my God. And then, so we're going towards the window and I'm telling them basically, you're going to kill me. I can't go through that, but I can't say it. But that's what I'm thinking. And then I must have lost consciousness because we were going through it, but it was like being broken down. And that's how they've been taking me for the last 3 years. It's like this really weird. I'll compare it with the Star Trek transporter. I hate doing that, but that's what it's like. So I'm being broken down at all these tiny little molecules and atoms, the smallest particles you can possibly be, and passing through a solid window and out to the yellowish amber colored light beam. And I'm trapped in that. But I mean, it was, I'm speechless because you can't compare it to anything else but Star Trek. So Gene Roddenberry must have had a good handle on something.
Yeah.
Because this is the way it's been going for the last couple of years. So this was the only abduction that I experienced that I was in the light beam, with a little guy at my elbow, one down by my ankles or my feet, and there we're going up. And we're going up. It was like an elevator, but it was amber, glowing yellow light. And you could look out of it. I could see down, but I couldn't move. I was still immobilized. And my only thought was getting out of it. My thought was, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, this is nuts. And I got to get out of here. This can't be happening. This can't be happening. And I see the edge of our roof coming up, and those are the red tile roofs in Southern California, fireproof. And I'm the very last top edge of it. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to try to reach out of this beam and grab it. And they're not taking me. I'm not going. Well, you can't reach out of the beam. You're immobile. You can't move. You can look, and I could smell the Pacific Ocean, which was a little refreshing, but not enough to make me calm down. I was in dismay that I couldn't reach out and get the edge of the roof so I could stay. I didn't care if I was sitting on the roof until morning. I was not going with them.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Oh my God. So it's like an elevator. So in this beam, you're going up, and I can see, again, I'm immobile, so I can't move, but I can see that there is a craft up there. And it's cloaked because all you see is this blackness, and then you can see the sky and the stars outside of it, and of course the airplanes because of Los Angeles airport. Yeah. And then it opened down on the bottom, and it wasn't like in, oh, what's the movie? Some of the science fiction movies show these openings that are circular.
Yeah.
And that's not what it was. It slid open, and it was circular, but it just slid open. And the beam went up, and we went up, me and the two guys, and there were two other people in that beam that I don't understand if those were military or what. So that was weird. And
so did you just notice the two others later?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and again, blacked out more than likely because I don't remember anything else except the next part, which is being on the exam table. And I call it an exam table because they're going to lock you down with, I had metal clamps on my wrists and my ankles when I came to, and everything was blurry because your vision is just not right. And it could be the atmosphere of the craft that I was in, but it was completely blurry, bizarre. And after a while, your eyes get a little better. But I was in a, for lack of a better description, pie wedge shaped room. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, where am I? What the hell is this? And I know I'm trapped. I know I can't get out of this. And I'm still somewhat not able to move. I'm still somewhat immobile, but now I'm strapped down and immobile. So I'm kind of freaking out. Heart's racing again. And there is the small grays are gone. They kind of move over to a different part where there's like a little alcove, and they sit and wait until they're summoned. That's the best way I can describe that. But I'm laying there, and it's cold. You can feel the indentation in the table. This is not a normal doctor's table, because I've been on those, and I've had surgeries. So it's not like that. Those are flat and just, cold. And they put sheets on you, all that, but this was indented for a being, like a human. And my feet were sticking out, the ankles were clamped down, wrists are clamped down. And I think, I remember something tall over me and looking down at me, and really tall, 7-8 feet tall, and dark, well, not dark gray, but gray. And again, my eyes are blurry, large eyes, not as big a head as the smaller ones. And telling me in my mind, K, calm. K, calm. No actual complete sentences that I'm hearing, but just my name and calm. So telling me to be calm about whatever was going to happen to me. And then I got a stab on my back. Something near my right eye was punctured or put in or something, because I had a heck of a headache the next morning, and my back hurt really bad from whatever it was they injected me with. And that's all I could say for that part. This tall being was there and stared down at my eyes. And it's not a gaze that you ever want, because it's like those dark black eyes, very liquidy, very no pupil, and scary as hell. Like completely soulless. For a split second, I thought, and I'm not very religious, but I'm thinking, whoa, this is the devil. You think
demon. Yeah.
You think something like that, because this is just so completely bizarre, irrational, surreal. Choose any word you want to describe it. It just does not happen in normal life. So anyway, it left. And I think that abduction, I got escorted by a small gray again, to another room, walked me to a room, put me on another table, and something dark green cloak shot right by me, smaller than that tall being, the tall gray, as I call him in the book. This smaller being had kind of a hunched looking back, but I mean, it just shot by really quickly. I don't know if it floated or it was running or walking, but super fast. Did something over here on the right side of me, again, towards my eye, and shot back out of the room. And I didn't see its head or anything, so I can only guess that it was a different type of alien. As I found out later, it was. But so that was doubly shocking. And again, I hear K, calm, and then I hear, this is necessary. And I'm thinking to myself, necessary for what? What are you?
I don't mean to laugh, but yeah, I can see you're confused. And necessary for what?
Yeah, I'm like, what is this? Why? What? Who are you? And I never got that answer until a little bit later on, as to, and still I'm puzzled as to who he actually is. But I've talked to Linda Moulton House several times about this, and she agrees that the tall being, the tall gray, and I put it in my book, is one of the progenitor grays from a long time ago, eons ago. One of the original race that might have been made, and I'm not saying this for a statement of fact, but just a possible theory, that the Pleiadians made the progenitor grays, and the progenitor grays made all these little others and the little robotic, half biological Zetas to do their dirty work. And the progenitor grays are the ones who are the scientists, but he seemed more like the captain on the craft. You know, everything kind of went through him. And I don't know if I was on a big craft. It must have been, because there were more rooms and there was some people, I could hear voices. No, don't do that. Please don't do that to me. That type of thing. And I think when I was taken back, I was just either unconscious or whatever, and somehow they put me back. I didn't go back the way that they took me, which I don't know. They just must have some sort of portal or something that they pop you through, and boom, you're back in your bed, because that's how they've been doing it for years now with me. Not the light. The light beam thing was just the one time only, but yeah, it's really hard to wrap your head around. I mean, when I wrote the book, and I wrote the book because it became an imperative for me to get all this information out. I was just like, if it helps one person out there, then it's worth it to me, because this is so.
You want to tell the listeners the name of your book?
Oh, yes. The book is Into the Greys Abyss, and it is all about my experiences with the Zeta Greys and this tall gray and a couple other interesting beings.
Okay, where can they?
Because you can buy it on Amazon.
In case they don't make it to the end, let's do it now.
You can buy it on Amazon.
Okay.
Currently, you can buy it on Amazon. I am working with someone to split the book into 2 volumes, because it is a large book. It's like 368 pages.
Oh, wow.
So I wanted to make it a little easier. And there were chapters that I left out originally, and I questioned them, and I finally talked to somebody, and they said, you should go ahead and put those in and divide your book into volume 1 and volume 2. It'll be easier reading, and then those other chapters can be in there. And then I'll have another book coming out in September or October. So that'll be like the 3rd volume. But a lot of stuff has happened. I can tell you that I thought after that it was over. Nothing like that was ever going to happen again. And I had more experiences there in Diamond Bar, just a couple. One was meeting a little hybrid girl on craft. And how did that happen? Was that? No, that was later. That was Colorado. One of them was, I was in our guest bedroom, and I had my cell phone. I was playing a game, and I think this was like March of 2018. Because that Diamond Bar, that was 2017. So we're still in the same house. It's a rental house. So it was 2018 and March. And I think it had rained a little bit that day. as I recall. But I was in the guest bedroom, and it's dark. I'm just playing a word game on my phone to go to sleep, and I finally kind of conk out, and the phone's in my hand, and I wasn't even under the covers, and something was in the room all of a sudden, or maybe because I usually go to bed about 11:30 every night. That's about the cutoff time for me. So it was probably about 12:30, maybe 12:45 in the morning, and I see this being in the room. Only one, but it's one of those little gray guys.
Mm-hmm.
And my phone is over there across on my desk bookcase area. It's not in my hand, and I'm sort of half off the bed. Not the first time that's happened. And it doesn't, I'm not getting anything from it, but I feel the vibration, and then we're gone. We're back on the craft, and they put me in a chair, I think it was, and I thought it was an examination room. I think it was one of the pie-shaped wedge. There's other rooms, but the pie-shaped wedge room, but it was a chair, and I was there for something, and I remember the ceiling, the walls are all glowing. There's no light bulbs that say GE or Philips or anything like that, and you can't see nuts or bolts in these rooms either. The walls themselves are alive. I don't know, but they're glowing, and it's a kind of a ambery color, not white, but amber. And I'm tilted back like you would be in a dentist chair, right, to get your teeth cleaned. So I'm tilted back, and this excruciatingly bright light is up there. And I'm thinking, oh, dear God, I'm going to be operated on. What are they doing to me now? And I remember being terrified out of my wits. And I hear again, Kay, calm, this is necessary. It's always necessary. So I'm thinking, okay, calm. Okay, so I'm calm. And I'm watching, and I had to close my eyes because that light was so bright. It must have done something to my eyes, but I'll tell that a little later. So I'm smelling something, and you usually do smell something on the craft. It's not a great smell. I smell, I guess the best way to describe it is like rotten eggs, or maybe dirty diapers and black licorice. Kind of, and yeah, it's not a pleasant smell. Yeah. And I don't know if it's because of the people that they bring on, and if they're getting sick or go in the bathroom. I mean, those little Zeta Greys must be cleaning everything up. But it could be the smell that comes off the actual beings, the alive beings there. They, emanate this smell. But anyway, it was awful. And I remember just cringing, going, oh, God, this stinks. And I was thinking that in my mind, this stinks. And trying to keep my eyes closed. I didn't want to look at that light, and I didn't know what was going to happen. I'm thinking, oh God, this stinks. And then all of a sudden I'm smelling lilacs, which is one of my favorite flowers, lilacs or roses, and then horse fur. So yeah, because I love horses, and horses, trainer and all that.
So they're trying to calm you down, I guess.
So yeah, so I found that very interesting, and I think in the book I put they can pull things out of your mind, so they can pull whatever they want out of your mind, and they can put whatever they want in your mind. These beings can manipulate people. I mean, I don't know how to say it otherwise. That's how I see it. They are manipulating people right and left in all over the place. And so I think we're being infiltrated, actually. And for me, that's the theory that I've come to. I can't come to the whole, oh, this is a joyous thing that they're here, and they've been here, and they've been doing this and abducting people and doing this and tweaking DNA, and tweaking, bad word, crossbreeding and crossbreeding and crossbreeding. That's what they've been doing. And the only reason I can come up with is it's infiltration and it's takeover. Point blank, period. I mean, these are not kumbaya people. These are not people you're going to sit around the campfire and roast marshmallows with. These beings mean business. And they may not like what we've done to the planet. I could agree with that. We've done some bad things. But they may not like what we've done to the planet. They don't can't intervene or won't intervene for whatever reason. And then they want to change us or have a different breed of human that has very little emotion, very little aggression, so that we can be their little slaves.
Yeah, I actually hear that a lot about the alien. Well, a lot from the people I talk to, that they really don't have an emotional. That they're not very emotionally motivated, not like humans. So that would make sense.
No, I
I
think
didn't
they
mean to
just,
cut you off.
it's okay. I think they just have an agenda. And I think that agenda is taking over planet Earth. And I hate to say it, I don't want to panic people out there, but if you think about it, what else is this secrecy all about? I mean, we already know there's crafts up there. We know they're cloak. We know there's tic tacs. We know there's saucers. We know there's diamonds. We know there's big, flat, freaking squares over Vandenberg Air Force Base and other places they've been seen with lights around the side. I've had dreams about this, recurring dreams about them fighting in the sky over us before I even knew about that story. And we lived at Vandenberg Air Force Base when that happened.
Oh wow.
I didn't
Oh
see it,
wow.
but we lived there. We were there for 8 years, and my husband was in the Air Force for 20 years. And he taught space system satellites at Vandenberg. But anyway, I digress. You just you put two and two together. I try to be a logical thinker about all this. And after that diamond bar encounter, I tried to tell my husband that morning. I know he had to go to a brand new job, and I mean, when I did get back, I jumped out of that bed and I flew downstairs to my cats. I didn't feed them. I opened up the wings of the patio doors and made a pot of coffee, shot out there and cried and sobbed and cried and sobbed and cried and sobbed at the table in my chair out there. And it was, 3 in the morning probably, or 2:45 in the morning, I think, when I got back and I jumped out of the bed. And I think the only thing I checked was that John was there, or my husband was there. And I remember just trying to go over it in my head. And I had my coffee, finally didn't feed the cats, but I had my coffee out there, and I had my horse's senior in the big bucket out there. And I opened up the bucket so I could sniff it, so I could kind of come back to reality.
Yeah.
And it was just, I sit there and I'm going, okay, what just happened? Check off these boxes. What just happened? So A, there was a blue light in the room. B, I thought it was an earthquake or emergency vehicles or something. C, I was vibrating. And it wasn't just a little vibrating. It was a lot of vibrating, to the point where I thought I was going to suffocate, die, have a heart attack, die. And then I remembered, I had the dream. I had the dream about these things trying to grab me. So I don't know why I had that dream, and then this happened. That part I have never figured out. But you sit there and you have to check off boxes and tell yourself you're not insane, you're not crazy, and that this did happen. I can watch scary movies till the cows come home, and I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I could watch Dracula movies, no problem. And I've seen Alien, and I've seen some sci-fi movies, old ones. We like the old ones.
Yeah.
And there's nothing. I don't have nightmares. This was not a nightmare. And I knew it
Yeah.
after it kept on happening. But anyway, so yeah, you check off those boxes and you tell yourself, okay, because I wasn't going to be the person that goes, I'm nuts. And so when I tried to tell my husband, and then of course you get that, you just had an intense dream.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, I'm never telling this to anybody again. And I pretty much didn't. But I opened up to two friends of mine. I had coffee with them once in a while from the ranch that we had our horses at, and kind of said, hey, what would you think if your room was invaded, by two beings? And, what would you think? And I was just kind of being hypothetical about it. And he was very, very interested. The husband was very interested, and his wife was like, drinking her coffee and looking down and drinking her coffee and looking down. She didn't say a word the whole time. But it was an interesting conversation because he'd been a cop for a long time in the Los Angeles area, and said he'd seen things, and he heard about the Battle of LA, and from his parents, I think, when he was a young kid, and all of that was true. So the conversation we had, I just, like I said, I just kind of said, hey, if you saw this in your room, what would you think? And then he leaned over and looked in my eyes and went, I would think there are aliens in the room and they're coming to take me. They're Greys. And I just went, yeah, I got up, paid for another coffee, came back to the table, and they were gone.
No.
Yeah, I had a nice conversation. But
Yeah.
at that point, it was pretty much over. But at least he said that. And I felt a little more relieved, like, okay, good, I'm not crazy,
No, you're not crazy.
No. But if it happens to you and you don't have the kind of family that you can just say, hey, this happened, and they're going to believe you, that's the way it is. It is ontological shock. You have all your little apples in one basket all your life. You do this, you do that, your morals, your beliefs, your religion. If you're religious, if you go to church, you don't go to church, it doesn't matter. But you have things set up. And then when something like this happens, it just rocks your world, and not in a good way.
I can't even imagine. I mean, and I 1000% believe you. I can see it in your eyes. I can hear it in your voice. And I understand, the part about trying to come out and being scared to talk to people. Because, and granted, I've never had an alien encounter, but, I've had a Bigfoot encounter, and I felt the same way. People look at you like you're crazy, and you get to a point you're scared to talk to people. But I'm super glad that you finally overcame that and are able to share. So usually I'm like all giddy and happy on this podcast, but man, you got goosebumps on me, and I'm on the edge of my seat. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted to add a little bit.
That's cool.
But carry on.
Cool. There's a lot of things out there that I didn't know existed. I mean, it had helped me tremendously after all these things happened, to talk to Linda Moulton Howe. I know she's a super busy woman. She's awesome. She's warm-hearted. She means well. She has been researching and doing this UFO stuff and abductee, talking to thousands of abductees all the time. So she's really busy, but it helped me to talk to her. And she was one of the first ones I told that I was actually going to do the book. I had started writing everything down on my phone when it happened the night before. Okay, this is what happened. Da 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 da. This is what happened. Da 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 da. And if it hadn't been for her, I would not have come out at all with this book. It just, it was like fortuitous that I even called her and was able to get a hold of her. I think I watched her on, I don't know if it was Earth Files or some special from a long time ago, where she had the Rendlesham forest incident on there, and the one guy who had the the binary number thing, where he wrote it all down. Walter Hout, am I thinking right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I think it was him. And I saw that and I was like, Jesus, I gotta try to talk to her. So she had a number on the screen. I actually called it, I got a hold of her. Oh, wow. So that's what started that. And I have had many conversations with Linda Moulton Howe over the years because of the things that have happened to me. And she says, Kay, you're right in the middle of this. You're in this, you're on this area where you're so deep in it, which is why I called the book Into the Gray's Abyss. You can't get out of it. And I told her, I said, I can't. I go to bed at night and I wonder what's going to happen tonight. Now, we've moved to a new place since Diamond Bar, since the other part of Colorado that we just came from. And that was the other thing. They don't stop. If they want you, they can get you anywhere. You can be in a hotel, you can be in your truck driving in Missouri or in another state. It doesn't matter. They've got you. And so that's what has happened.
Yeah, that's scary.
I wouldn't have come out with this. And the Diamond Bar thing, that was just of all the crazy things that happen to a person. I mean, I would have expected to get hit by a car before.
Yeah, out in the woods where the shadows creep, I'm trying to find the legend that the people keep. Bigfoot's the name, got a story to tell. Footprints in the mud, can't you hear the bell? Whispers in the night, can you feel that chill? Bigfoot on the run, he's a legend, keep it real. Bigfoot Bigfoot, yeah, he's the talk of the town. Creeping through the trees, never wearing a frown. Legend of the forest, he's got a big stride. As the trap beats thump, you know he's got pride. Like I'm on a quest, searching for the homie, you know he's the best. Got my camera ready, heightened senses on blast. Snap a shot of Sasquatch, legend unsurpassed. Eyes in the dark, you can't catch what you can't see. King of the woods, living wild and free. Bigfoot, yeah, he's the talk of the town. Creeping through the trees, never wearing a frown. Legend of the forest, he's got a big stride. As the trap beats thump, you know he's got pride.